Week 22 of the 2023-24 NBA season is over, which means it's time to run it back. This is Run It Back, NBA Week in Review, Los Angeles Clippers edition. I'm Jose Salviati, editor at thePeachBasket.net and formerly the featured columnist covering the Clippers for Bleacher Report. This is the show where we recap the week that was for the LA Clippers and then highlight their marquee matchup for the week to come. We'll start like we always do by looking at where the team lands on the Peach Basket's objective power rankings this week. Now, this week was a better week for the Clippers, who were really floundering after the All-Star break. The Clippers finished the week at 2-1. I'd predicted and actually said they needed a 3-0 week this week based on the need with the playoffs coming up and the competition. While they did not deliver on that prediction, they came kind of close. The loss to the Atlanta Hawks to kick off the week without Trae Young was an odd and really kind of demoralizing one. They lost 110-93 and just never seemed to be interested in winning or competing in that game. It was rough. Things did not look good. It's one thing to lose. It's another thing to lose to a team you really should beat, especially with, again, the playoffs just around the corner. But then the basketball gods sent the Clippers a gift in the form of the Portland Trail Blazers. With apologies to Blazers fans, and I mean it sincerely because I'm a big fan of Chauncey Billups, and I think the Blazers have got a lot of upside. But, man, this team was exactly what the Clippers needed. The Blazers, in a way, represented free throws for the Clippers that were shooting poorly. Do you know what I mean by that? Imagine a game, right, where a player is getting good shots up, but they just aren't dropping. It happens, right? Then that player gets fouled, goes to the line, and he watches two shots go in. That's all it took. That's all that player needed to go on a tear, because watching shots fall helps. Winning two games helps. These Blazers were these Clippers free throws. Hopefully, we'll see. Week 23 is going to tell if the Clippers can take on or carry on that momentum that these free throws, represented free throws, hopefully got them. The Clippers won both games in Portland, 116-103 and 125-117. Time will tell if that's enough to get them on the right track. But there's more good news for the Clippers, which we'll get to in just a little bit. That 2-1 week was enough to keep them at number 4 in the Peach Basket's objective power rankings for the 8th week in a row. Overall, they hold steady at the number 5 spot for the 4th week in a row. Let's turn our attention now to the players. These are the best to do it in key categories for the Clippers. A lot of familiar names, but again, as is normal for the Clippers, we see different names, which is kind of good. Paul George, though, led the team once again with 28 points per game in week number 22. That was over his 3 games played. PG was also the best sniper, averaging 4 3-point field goals made, and the best overall shooter, averaging 9.7 field goals made. The Clippers' best rebounder in week number 22 was Big Zoo. Ivica Zubac averaged 7.7 total rebounds over his 3 games played. Zubac also pulled down 3 offensive rebounds on average to lead the Clippers. Defensively, Paul George grabbed the most rebounds, averaging 5.3. James Harden continues to be the, in all caps, facilitator for the Clippers. This week, he averaged 11 assists per game over his 3 games played to once again lead the team. The blocks category was shared by PG and Ivica Zubac, both who averaged 1.3 blocks per game. Paul George led the team in steals with 2.7 on average and also in game score at 25.8. Now, looking ahead to week number 23, the Clippers are in a battle against Eastern Conference foes with 2 games at home and 2 on the road. The Clippers start by taking on the Philadelphia 76ers at home, followed by a game against the very good Indiana Pacers. The team then travels to Philadelphia to take on the Sixers again on their home court and finishes the week with a game in Orlando against the Magic. Now, predicting this week is kind of tough because the big question is which Clippers team is going to show up, right? Did they learn their lesson against the Portland Trail Blazers? Did James Harden do what he wanted to do and kind of pick up the team by attempting to block Kawhi Leonard's 3-point shot. Which team are we going to see? Are we going to see that team, or are we going to see the team that showed up against the Atlanta Hawks in other games this season? I don't know, man. We're going to have to wait and see. This is not going to be an easy week, but it is going to be a telling week for the Clippers. Beating the Blazers, of course, was great, and having a 2-1 week was exactly what they needed. But again, apologies, it was the Portland Trail Blazers. Week 23 is objectively tougher. But I want to predict. So when I take a look at week 23, I see a 2-2 week for the Clippers. I think they beat the Sixers at home and then lose to them on the road, with another loss against the Pacers at home, finishing the week against the Magic with a win. 2-2 is not bad. Obviously, it's not great. I wouldn't be surprised to see them 3-1. The bummer is I wouldn't be surprised to see them go 1-3 either. But we'll see. We're down on record 2-2 week for the Clippers in week number 23. We'll end the show with Full Court Press. This is where we just type in Los Angeles Clippers into a browser and see what comes up in page one that looks interesting. And the big news for the Clippers, I alluded to it earlier, there is more good news. On top of a 2-1 week, they got word that Russell Westbrook is expected back, actually in week number 23, potentially. We go to Newsweek for this article entitled Los Angeles Clippers News, Russell Westbrook expected to return to the lineup next week, written by Ricardo Klein. Now, it's no surprise to anybody, really, that Russell Westbrook was missed. The Clippers were 6-5 without him, which isn't great, but it's not bad, but it's not great. I don't know how else to put it. They miss his intensity, man. Personally, I'm disappointed because I really had hoped that Bones Highland would fill that gap well. When I see Bones Highland play, right, I see a lot of Russell Westbrook in him. But for whatever reason, Ty Lue just doesn't trust him. He hasn't been getting the minutes. He did initially, and he played okay. But he just hasn't played well enough, I guess, or trusted the team enough to get the run that I thought he would get without Russell Westbrook in the lineup. Westbrook has averaged 11.1 points per game this season on 45.2 shooting from the field, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. And when he's in the game and with that second unit, he changes things, man. The other team knows it, and more importantly, the Clippers know it, and his teammates know it. He's missed, and having him back this early is great. This is going to give him enough time to ramp up, to get his legs. Not that he was gone that long, but still, you're going to need a couple games to really kind of get back into the flow, and to have the opportunity to do that before the playoffs is huge for the Clippers. Things are lining up pretty well for them. They're mostly healthy, and they're coming off a good week. This week is important. As the weeks start to wind down, seeding becomes important. Right now, they're playing the Pelicans, who they've not had great success against in the regular season. That's their first round matchup. So these games are important, man. Winning is important. Cohesiveness, chemistry, it's all important. It's a great time of year. So excited to have Russell Westbrook back just in time. That's it. Week number 22 of the Clippers 2023-24 NBA season is in the books. Join us again next week after week number 23 when we once again run it back.